So we'll start with Mangalati. So we'll start with Mangalati. It feels completely different when you're sitting here and your eyes are completely on the speaker. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 All prevailing personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswati vyasam tato jayam udire. For reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the main means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and the loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Anantamirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Spurn the daggers of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Thank you. So today we are reading from Canto 8, chapter 17, verse number 10 to 20. And the verse of the day is number 12. Yeah. All right. Before Amla asks, could you start, Prabhu?
O unlimited one, if your lordship is satisfied, one can very easily obtain a lifetime as long as that of Brahma, a body either in the upper, lower, or middle planetary systems, unlimited material opulence, religion, economic development, and satisfaction to senses, full transcendental knowledge, and the 8 yogic perfections. What to speak of such petty achievements as conquering one's rivals?
Dev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, best of Bharat dynasty, when the lotus eyed Lord, the super soul of all living entities, was thus worshipped by Aditi, he replies as follows.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O
Mother.
O Mother of the demigods, I already understood your long cherished desire for the welfare of your sons, who have been deprived of all opulences and driven from their residence by their enemies.
Text 13. O Devi, O Goddess, I can understand that you want to regain your sons and be together with them to worship me, after defeating the enemies in battle and retrieving their abode and opulences.
You want to see the wives of demons lamenting for the death of their husbands when those demons, the enemies of your sons, are killed in battle by the demigods, of whom Indra is the chief.
You want your sons to regain their lost reputation and opulence and live again on their heavenly planet as usual.
O Mother of Demigods, in my opinion, almost all the chiefs
Continue.
all the chiefs of the demons are now unconquerable, for they are being protected by Brahmanas, whom the Supreme Lord always favors. Thus, the use of power against them now will not at all be a source of happiness.
Yet, because I have been satisfied by the activities of your vow, O goddess Aditi, I must find some means to favor you. For worship of me never goes in vain, but certainly gives the desired result according to what one deserves.
X-rating. You have prayed to me and probably worshipped me by performing the great Payovrata ceremony for the sake of protecting your sons. Because of Kashyapa Muni's austerities, I shall agree to become your son and thus protect your other sons.
Always thinking of me as being situated within the body of your husband, Kashyapa, go worship your husband, who has been purified by his austerity.
Explain. O lady, even if someone inquires, you should not disclose this fact to anyone. That which is very confidential, successful if kept secret.
Thank you. And the verse of the day is verse number 12. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Dev Matar Bhavatya Me
Devamatar Bhavatya Me
Vigyatam Chira Kangshitam
Vignatam Chirakangshitam
Yat Sapnair Hitasmi Shrinam
Yasapne Shrinam
Chavitanam Swadhamatah
Shavitanam Swadhamata
Shri Bhagwan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Dev Matar Bhavatya Me
Devamatar Bhavatya Me
Vigyatam Chira Kangshitam
Vignatam Chirakangshitam
Yat Sapnair Hitashrinam
Yasapne Shrinam
Chavitanam Swadhamatah
Shavitanam Swadhamata
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Deva Matar Bhavatya Me
Deva Matar Bhavatya Me Vigyata Chira Kangshitam
Yat saptane hite Shrinam
Yat Sapne Hitashrinam Chavitanam Swadhamatah
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Bhavatya Me
Deva Matar Bhavatya Me Vigyatam. Sorry.
Vigyatam chirakangshitam.
Vigyatam Chira Kangshitam
Yatsnapte Shrinam
Yat Sapner Hitashrinam Chavitanam Swadhamatah Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Devamatar Bhavatya Me
Deva Matar Bhavatya Me. Yes.
Vigyatam Chira Kangshitam
Vigyatam Chira Kangshitam
Yatsapne Rita Shrinam
Yat Sapner Hitashrinam
Shyavitanam Swadhamatah
Chavitanam Swadhamatah
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Deva Madar Bhavatya Me
Deva Matar Bhavatya Me
Vignatam Chirakangshitam
Vigyatam Chira Kangshitam
Yatsapne Rita Shrinam
Yat Sapner Hitashrinam
Chavitam Swadhamata
Chavitanam Swadhamatah Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Deva Matar Bhavatya Me Vigyatam Chira Kangshitam Yat Sapna Chavitanam Swadhamatah. Thank you. I was reading after you. Thank you. So, one by one. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, just repeat after me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Dev Matar, O Mother of Demigods, Bhavatya, of you, me, by me, Vigyatam, understood, Chir Kangshitam, what you have desired for a long time, Yet, because Saptane, by the rivals, Hitashrinam, of your sons, who are bereft of all opulences, Chavitanam, vanquished, Swadhamatah, from their own residential quarters. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Mother of demigods, I have already understood your long-cherished desires for the welfare of your sons, who have been deprived of all opulences and driven from their residence by their enemies. I would like to read purport. I like when he reads in slow motion.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, and especially in the hearts of his devotees, is always ready to help devotees in adversity. Since he knows everything, he knows how things are to be adjusted, and he does the needful to relieve the suffering of his devotee.
Check. I feel like this pillar is a kind of impediment in the association, right, Prabhu? You can sit over there. Oh, for yourself. Seems like you're in a corner. You can sit here so we can see you. So in text 11, as it's written, that Krishna resides in everyone's heart, and in this verse it's mentioned that he already knows what we have been longing for. But here, what exactly Mother Aditi desiring? What is she desiring in this verse?
Welfare of her sons.
Why? Yes.
Happiness.
Okay. How about you?
Because they've been kicked out of their kingdom and they're bereft of all power and opulence.
Anyone else? So in one of the verses it is mentioned that so that they can get their opulences back and whatever duties have been prescribed to them to serve the Lord, they can get back to their services. That's mentioned there. So what happens in this chapter? Can somebody give a little, what do we call it, brief of the story? Sorry, I was trying to put my foot straight. Nobody knows what happened in the chapter. Yes.
So Aditi was released because the demons basically kicked out the demigods from the heavenly planets.
Mm-hmm.
So she went to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or she went to Kashyap Muni, I'm not sure.
So how did demons manage to kick out demigods? That's another question.
So, the curse.
The curse was the very basic thing. After that, a lot happened, and after that, the second part of the story. That's it. All right. Anyone else? It's just mentioned. We just read it. Because they were empowered by the Brahmanas. And whoever, like, Go, Brahmana, Hitayacha. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Go, Brahmana, Hitayacha. So Krishna will always favor those who worship cow and who follow the instruction of Brahmanas. Here, who was the Brahmana? Who were demons following? And I was confused about Shukracharya, right? Like he was demigod of demons. Prabhu, could you be able to pull up Bhagavad Gita 10.37? So, I was confused that he is spiritual master of demons. So it means he doesn't worship Supreme Personality of Godhead. But no, I was wrong, and I really apologize for that. It's just like he is doing his part. He worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's one of the representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How is he playing his part? We'll read here. Let's go all the way bottom in the bottom. Yes, go a little top here. So, among the Kavis, Ushna Shukracharya was the spiritual master of the demons. He was an extremely intelligent and far-seeing politician. Thus, Shukracharya is another representative of the opulence of Krishna. He was doing his part. In the family, you would see some kids are very obedient, some are very mischievous. You do not express your love to both of them in the same way, right? For obedient kids, you express your love in a whole different way, but for those who are disobedient, those who are mischievous, you use different techniques and tactics. So the way he acted was needed to kind of, guide the demons. And just imagine, this is not from the Shastras, just for us to understand. You have, we all have tried the kachori chaat upstairs, right? Like you have everything. You have the chole in your bowl. You have kachori in your bowl. But what if there's no masala in the kachori? What if there's no chutney on top of kachori? Like there's dahi, there are some peanuts and there are some pomegranates too, but the masala is missing. So without masala, there's no maza in that, right? The same way, these things are needed. These are also kind of ingredients to make the leelas happen. All right. Anyone have any questions? No? So to understand about Shukracharya, Shukracharya was the spiritual master of demons. At the same time, Brihaspati is the spiritual master of demigods. When we go further, in the next canto, we will read that the son of Brihaspati becomes disciple of Shukracharya. Why? Yes. Yes. So we have read in previous verses that Shukracharya was able to revive the dead bodies. The asuras who lost their life in the battlefield, he was able to revive, he was able to bring them back to life because he was blessed with Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya. And to learn the same thing, Brihaspati's son Kacha, he became disciple of Shukracharya. Thank you. Can we pull Prabhu verse number 9.18.22? So Shukracharya was a very powerful Brahmin, very intelligent, extremely, I would say, mindful and a great politician as well. He plays a very vital role in our Shastras. Can we go in the translation? Purport. Purport. A little Prabhu from the very beginning of the purport. Yes. Kacha, the son of the learned celestial priest Brihaspati, had been a student of Shukracharya, from whom he had learned the art of reviving a man who has died untimely. This art called Mrit Sanjeevani was specially used during wartime. When there was a war, soldiers would certainly die untimely, but if a soldier's body was intact, he could be brought to life again by this art of Mrit Sanjeevani. This art was known to Shukracharya and many others, and Kacha, the son of Brihaspati, became Shukracharya's student to learn it. So here we have a very limited mindset, and I'm talking about myself when I said we, because the way I was seeing it was absolutely wrong, but with the help of my mentor and with the Shastras, I could understand the role that Shukracharya plays here. And always, like you said, we are in the darkest ignorance, and Shastras and spiritual master, they just give us the vision to see the truth. So always try to broaden up your horizons just to have proper understanding of the things so that we can go more in depth. And when we love something, we go in details. As they say, love is in the details. Sorry?
So you started with the demons are protected by Brahmana.
Mm-hmm.
So Brihaspati is not Brahman?
Brihaspati is also Brahman. He is also a spiritual master of demigods. But what if you offend your spiritual master? So can you pull verse number 6.7.23? What happens when you disrespect your spiritual master? You lose everything, whether it's material opulence or spiritual opulence. 6.7.23, yes. Yes, Prabhu, would you like to read the translation?
O Indra, your enemies, the demons, were extremely weak because of their disrespect towards Sukracharya. But since they have now worshipped Sukracharya with great devotion, they have again become powerful. By their devotion to Sukracharya, they have increased their strength so much that now they are even able to easily siege my abode from me.
Who's saying that? Brahma. Can we go to the next verse? Yeah. Read the next one as well.
Because of their firm determination to follow the instructions of Sukracharya, his disciples, the demons, are now unconquered, unconcerned about the demigods. In fact, kings or others who have determined faith in the mercy of Brahmanas, cows, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who always worship these three are always strong in their
position. When we go further, when we go in depth, we read like how Indra, he offended Brihaspati. So here we are talking about Payovrata as well. We studied about it yesterday, Payovrata.
I was not there yesterday.
You were not there yesterday, no problem. Who was there yesterday? Who would like to describe Payovrata? No? Try it.
It's like surviving on milk for
Yes.
a month or
12 days. 12 days. That starts from when? Yes.
The month that I forgot.
Okay. Which month? Fagun month?
Fagun.
March and April.
February and March. I mean, right now we are in Fagun month, right? So it starts from Purnima to Dwadashi, 12 days. And why do we do it? We survive on the milk. When do we do it? We do it in the month of Fagun, from Purnima to Dwadashi. But why do we do it? Prabhu, can you go to chapter 16th and translation from 24 to 27? Sorry?
To please.
To please the Supreme Lord, but why?
To get him as your son.
To get?
To get him as your son.
To get him as your son. Alright, so let's read the same chapter, the previous chapter of the same canto. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Sorry,
You wanna
wait. So
No problem.
we are reading 8:16 or 17.
8:16:24.
8:16. Okay.
It's okay, no problem, Prabhu. So there was something that we really missed, and that's the most important part of the entire chapter. So we are not doing any syllabus thing that we have to complete, but we need to make sure whatever we are reading, we are understanding the essence of it. Just go to translations from 24. Yeah.
Sri Kashyap said, when I desired offsprings, I placed inquiries before Lord Brahma, who is born from lotus flower. Now I shall explain to you the same process Lord Brahma instructed me, by which Keshava, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. In the bright...
Someone else? Go ahead.
In the bright fortnight of the month Falguna, February and March, for 12 days, ending with Dwadashi, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion.
The next one, that's the most important part now. Who would like to read? Go ahead.
If dirt dug up by a boar is available on the day of of the dark moon, one should smear this dirt on his body and then bathe in a flowing river. While bathing, one should chant the following mantra.
And the last one.
Oh,
Go.
O Mother Earth, you were raised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a boar because of your desiring to have a place to stay. I pray that you kindly vanquish all the reactions of my sinful life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
So, to have offsprings, this was advised by Lord Brahma to Kashyap Muni, and from Kashyap Muni it came to Aditi. Now I have a question, like, what if Kashyap Muni hadn't arrived from his asceticism? What if Kashyap Muni hadn't arrived from asceticism? What would Aditi do?
Walk with the family spiritual master. Might have uprooted family spiritual master.
Are you here? No, I'm asking you. Like Kashyap Muni arrived, he advised her what to do in this situation where she was lamenting because her sons lost everything. So what would happen if Kashyap Muni hadn't arrived from his asceticism?
What is asceticism?
From his that meditation. So what would we do if Prabhupada hadn't come to the Western world?
Continue to live in ignorance.
So without that, this association wouldn't have been possible. The satsang that we are having right now, we wouldn't have been enjoying it. If there was no satsang, there would have been no Srimad Bhagavatam. If there was no Srimad Bhagavatam, we would not know who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. Forget about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we would not know who we are. We would really don't know what's our real purpose behind getting this human form. Like you are traveling, but you don't know what your destination is. You are going here and there, but without destination, it just becomes complicated. You just get stuck in the cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. You get entangled by the modes of material nature. You become slave of your senses. And birth after birth, when you practice it so much, it's hard to get rid of it. But with the mercy of devotees, we get this satsang, and with that satsang, we get to know that who we are, we get self-realized. And when we are self-realized, our journey starts to understand who Krishna is, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what's his nature, what's his character. So the importance of satsanga is very, 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 the satsanga plays a very vital role in our life. Without satsanga, there's no pleasure here. The life would be completely without any kind of purpose, and life without purpose is just like worse than animal's life. When you are in a human form and you don't have any purpose. Anyone have any question? Go ahead.
Satsang is association of devotees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to...
Satsang is association of devotees for sure, and you can associate with the devotees by reading books as well. Sometimes we misunderstand that when you want to be becoming a part of satsanga, you have to give up on your material things and then come to the temple and start living like monks and all, but this is not at all like that. Krishna asks you to do your prescribed duties first with the guidance given by the Guru, Sadhu and Shastras, and then worship him. So there's a very beautiful conversation between Lord Kapila, one of the incarnations of Vishnu, and Mother Devabhuti. Could you be able to pull verse number 3.29.15? So when I joined temple, a lot of things were there, like I have to give up on this, I have to give up on that, and then I will have to live like this and that. And then there was that one person who told me, like, don't worry about anything. Just make sure you always associate with Prabhupada's books, you always read Prabhupada's books, and you always attend the morning program. That's all you have to do. The rest of the things, don't worry about them. Take a vow At that time, when Ganesh Prabhu took a vow of 6 months of brahmacharya, he took saffron and all, and there was one of my roommates, he wanted to go back to Vrindavan. A lot of things, a lot of challenges were there, and you feel like encouraged. You feel like I should also do something, and I wanted to kind of, quit my job or do it part-time. I shared it with him as well. I would like to do it part-time. I also want to do what you guys are doing. And at the same time, somebody came in a way, this like, don't worry, you don't have to do any such things. We do not ask you to give up on your prescribed duties. Do your duties with honesty, without being attached to the results, and then you will relish the Shastras too. Don't worry about anything else that I have to give up on this and that. No. Just make sure, take a vow that I will always stick to satsang, no matter what. I will always read the books, or I will always hear the kirtan, or I will always attend the Srimad Bhagavatam class. More than that, you don't have to worry. Everything else will happen automatically. It was so simple, and that's something that I always follow. More than that, I can't do. I would be honest. Let's read this one. Oh, you've read already.
Devotee must execute his prescribed duties, which are glorious, without material profit. Without excessive violence, one should regularly perform one's devotional activities.
Okay, before we go forward, you all have read Bhagavad Gita, or you all have an idea of conversation happened between Arjun and Krishna. So Arjun was also in a situation where he was just like, I don't want to fight with them. It's like, what would I get in return? There's so much of violence. There's so much of cruelty. And let me go to the forest and then do the practice, the sadhana and all. And that's where Krishna says that first of all, you cannot run away from your prescribed duties. You are a Kshatriya, and this is your nature. Kshatriya is your nature, and these are the duties that have been prescribed to you to fight for the right. Right now, because of the attachment, because of the attack of Maya, you are running away. But because of your nature, your Kshatriya nature, even in the forest, your blood will boil and you would definitely desire to fight for the right. So don't run away from it, just face it, but make sure. Right now you are kind of lamenting because you are attached to the results of it. As long as you are attached to the results of your karmas, you would always be confused. Just surrender the results to Krishna and act it and do your karma as a matter of duty. That this is the duty that's been assigned to me by Krishna. I'm doing it as per his guidance, as per the guidance of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Results are not in my hands. Don't think about the results, and results would be completely taken care by Krishna. So in this way, when we act, we fulfill our duties, we relish the Shastras as well. At the same time, we feel Krishna's presence with us in every step of our life. And sometimes what happens when we run away from our karma, like, no, I just don't want to involve in this material world, I just have to run away, and I cannot entangle and all. We just complicate the situations more for ourselves. So that's not the solution. The solution is just to be in the battlefield, whatever battle you are fighting, mental, emotional, physical, social, financial, whatever battle it is, with the assistance, with the guidance of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, just do it. Don't be attached to the result. Because Krishna, whatever karmas you've been through, he would be there with you, always, in this case. So we can read the purport now. Would you like to read, Siyama?
One has to execute his prescribed duties according to his social position as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. The prescribed duties of the four classes of men in human society are also described in Bhagavad Gita. The activities of Brahmanas are to control the senses and to become simple, clean, learned devotees. The Kshatriyas have the spirits of ruling. They are not afraid on the battlefield, and they are charitable. The Vaishyas, or the mercantile class of men, trade in commodities, protect cows, and develop agricultural produce. The Shudras, or laborer class, serve the higher classes because they themselves are not very intelligent. From every position, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Svakarmana tam abhyarchyat, one can serve the Supreme Lord by performing one's prescribed duty. It is not that only the Brahmanas can serve the Supreme Lord and not the Shudras. Anyone can serve the Supreme Lord by performing his prescribed duties under the direction of a spiritual master or representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one should think that his prescribed duties are inferior. A Brahmana can serve the Lord by using his intelligence, and the Kshatriya can serve the Supreme Lord by using his military arts, just as Arjuna served Krishna. Arjuna was a warrior. He had no time to study the Vedanta or other highly intellectual books. The damsels in Vrajadam were girls born of the Vaishya class, and they engaged in protecting cows and producing agriculture. Krishna's foster father, Nanda Maharaj, and his associates were all Vaishyas. They were not at all educated, but they could serve Krishna by loving him and by offering everything to him. Similarly, there are many instances in which Chandalas, or those lower than Shudras, have served Krishna. Also, the sage Vidura was considered a Shudra because his mother happened to be a Shudra. There are no distinctions, for it is declared by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita that anyone engaged specifically in devotional service is elevated to the transcendental position without a doubt. Everyone's prescribed duty is glorious if it is performed in the devotional service of the Lord. Without,
I'd like to read the next one.
without desire for profit.
Go ahead.
Such loving service must be performed without reason, without impediment and spontaneously. Krishna is lovable and one has to serve him in whatever capacity one can. That is pure devotional service. Another significant phrase is in this verse is Nati Imishrena, with minimum violence or sacrifice of life. Even if a devotee has to commit violence, it should not be done beyond what is necessary. Sometimes the question is put before us. You ask us not to eat meat, but you are eating vegetables. Do you think that is not violence? The answer is that eating vegetable is violence, and the vegetables are also committing violence against other living entities because vegetables also have life. Non-devotees are killing cows, goats, and so many other animals for eating purposes. And a devotee who is vegetarian is also killing. But here, significantly, it is stated that every living entity has to live by killing another entity. That is a law of nature. Jivo jivasya jivanam. One living entity is the life for another living entity. But for a human being, that violence should be committed only as much as necessary.
So, just a quick question. Somebody made kheer and they forgot to put sugar in it. Maybe there was no kesar as well, and they forgot to put elaichi too. How would you react? How would you react while eating it?
No reaction to it.
No reaction. Internally, would you get upset with the kheer or would you be angry on the person who made it? The person who made it, right? For someone who doesn't have the qualities that are required in them to be human being, what do we do generally? We criticize them, we judge them, right? And by judging them, by criticizing them, what do we do? The one who created them, we somewhere hurt him, right? The same way, the violence, don't do it mentally, physically, verbally, by any means. We shouldn't be doing it. We have to be very, very careful of this thing. This violence kind of destroys a lot of things. And here Prabhupada has mentioned only the violence which is just required and which we can offer to Krishna, very minimal. Can we go to the next verse of the same chapter? So here Krishna is saying, who would like to read translation? Go ahead.
The devotee should regularly see my statues in the temple, touch my lotus feet and offer worshipable paraphernalia and prayer. You should see in the spirit of renunciation, in the mode of goodness, and see every living entity as spiritual.
Again, like in the previous verse, we read that whatever karma you do, just don't be attached to the results. Do it as a matter of duty and you will love it. But do whatever, do according to your nature. When you go against your nature, you regret it. So act according to your nature and leave the results in Krishna's hands. Don't be attached to the results and do your actions according to the Guru Sadhun Shastra. This is the best kind of renunciation. Then, how to serve the Lord? The best way of serving the Lord is first doing your prescribed duties. Your prescribed duties. After that, then come to the worship, come to my statue, come to the temple and do all rest of the things. What do we generally do? We do the top things first and we just forget the basics. But the basics are the most important. They set the foundation for us and we should not be overlooking them. Just make sure whatever you do, you are following your prescribed duties. You'll feel content. At the same time, you'll be feeling more connected to Krishna. Anyone has any questions? Ahead.
So you mentioned the prescribed duties that everyone should do their prescribed duties. Like we have some duties against our family, our father, mother, everyone.
Mhm.
But what about those who take brahmachari vow or those who
are taking those vows, they are not ignoring their duties. They have arranged the things in a way that they have moved to this next part and still they are serving. They are acting according to their nature. They are not leaving any responsibilities behind in a way where nobody is taking care of them. Those who are sannyasi here, they are continuously serving. They wake up at 4 a.m. From 4 a.m. to until midnight, they would be keep on serving by whatever means they can. They keep on serving. Today we are here. It's because of they've been serving us. The brahmachari sannyasis, they all are serving. Again, whatever you do, don't leave your duties behind. Don't try to manipulate yourself that no, I'm doing this so I can ignore that part. No, because here to become brahmachari and sannyasi, proper counseling is done and you cannot do it without guidance of your spiritual master. Ahead.
So how I understand it is that we should do our prescribed duties and then go to our calling, or if we do have an internal calling.
See, if Arjun was there, right? The situation was like that. The internal calling was saying, just give up on everything, go to the forest. So that's all the situation. We are very expert in deceiving ourselves. But yes, when you have spiritual guidance with you, when you have your mentor, your gurus with you, then you can make a fair decision. We come to the temple, why do we come? People come to the temple asking for what? God, just give us a lot of money, make me a billionaire. So here what's important for us? What's more important for us, Krishna or the money?
Krishna.
No. When somebody is coming to the temple and that person is asking for money, possessions, this and that, it shows what's more valuable for them, right? And for us, it's completely different. So when they come here with the desire of money and all, and a pure devotee sees them, what do we do? What do we do? What do they do, sorry? It's like, don't be a fool, don't be a rascal. What you are looking for is extremely temporary. The Father, He has a lot. He has something eternal to give you. Don't become slave of those temporary things. So go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Complete your sentence.
No, you can go ahead.
So how do you differentiate if we are doing our prescribed duties or over endeavoring and entangling ourselves in the material situation? Because the ultimate goal is to worship the Lord and then do his devotional service and go back to Godhead, right?
Over endeavoring, just make sure what are you attached to. Like we just discussed, if you are attached to the results of what you are doing, then yes, it's something somewhere is wrong. Like Siyama mentioned a few days ago in a meeting, her manager asked her what are your goals for the next 2 years or so, right? And she was like, materially she didn't have any goals. Spiritually she had goals. Materially she is doing it as a matter of duty that she has to run her livelihood for that purpose. The same way, your goals are spiritual, but in material world, whatever you do, you just completely do it as a matter of duty, that Krishna wants me to play this role. My karma is somewhere connected to this place and that place, and I don't want to entangle anymore. So with the help of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, wherever there are dualities, wherever there are confusions, I'll take their help and I will not go much deeper into it. I will not create more accounts. Whatever my karma has, whatever the prarabdha that we call that the prarabdha has planned for us, I will participate in that, but I will do it according to the guidance given by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. That's all. And yeah, our endeavoring doesn't happen, just like I said, stick to satsang, that's all. Rest of the things you don't have to worry about. You lose taste in material things automatically. When you taste honey, you stop liking sugar. This is the same thing. When you develop a higher taste, you realize that everything else is kind of, useless. It's just temporary. It's just dukhalaya shashvatam. Getting more into it, you'll feel like, no, it's just something very contaminating. But see how contaminating our mind is, how contaminating our heart is. Would you sit in a chair which is very dirty? No, right? Then how Krishna comes here in our mind and our tongue? It's just mercy of satsang. This is the miracle of satsang, the mercy that Prabhupada has given us. So satsang is very powerful. The soul finds some rest as soon as we come here in the temple. We don't know, we are not able to even explain it, but we just feel like, wow, thank God I came to the temple. Thank God I just kind of, spent some time there. But the Maya is very strong. You just like, don't go. But as soon as you are here, you feel like, oh, I found some rest. So this is something that we experience every day. Anything else? So other thing that Krishna has mentioned, that he always protects his devotees. This is from Mahabharata that I would share with you. In Mahabharata, Arjun was surrendered to Krishna. Krishna took care of everything. Slaying Jayadarath, it was kind of impossible. How strong Kaurava's army was. And Arjun had taken a vow that if he if he didn't slay him before sunset, then he would kill himself in the fire. And then Krishna was worried about him. He was not that kind of stress on that thing, but Krishna was worried about him, and Krishna arranged everything, and Krishna's a covered sun with his Sudarshan Chakra and asked him just like, set your target, achieve your goal. Krishna serves you in that way when you are surrendered to him. Another thing, the vows taken by Bhima, I was laughing as well. The vows taken by Bhima also, that I would drink blood of Dushasan's heart, and then I would smash the thighs of Duryodhan. And when we read Mahabharata, we read that Duryodhan's mother, she had her ascetic powers. Her, I would call it, the powers were so strong that she could make his body completely iron body that nobody can smash. And Krishna plays his part. So she asks Duryodhan to come naked without any clothes. And she would remove her blindfold. And when she sees him fully, all of his body parts, every single cell of his body would be protected. He would not die. So that was her endeavor to save just one son who was left in the war. And Krishna enters there. Like Bhima had taken a vow of smashing his thighs. Now I have to take care of him. And then Krishna asks him, like, what are you doing? You're going like this in front of your mother? Just at least have a loincloth. So that loincloth helps him cover his thighs in the loin part, and that's where. And then when the moment comes, when the mass fight happens between Duryodhan and Bhim, just right before that, Yudhishthir creates more complicated situation for Krishna. And that was very challenging for him to take care. And at the same time, Balaram arrives. So Balaram has a kind of very soft corner for Duryodhan. Balaram is known as Duryodhan Guru as well. And Balaram was just like, in this war, nobody can smash the thighs. Like, you cannot go beyond that belt, right? So Krishna argues with him. So he just Don't interfere now. Let me take care of my devotees. And Krishna argued with Balram as well for to fulfill Bhima's vow, and that's how Bhima. Nobody could defeat Duryodhan in the mass fight. It was all because of Krishna they could do that. So Krishna is there with you. He's always there to serve you as long as you are doing your prescribed duties the way the Pandavas were doing, and you stick to Guru, Sadhu and Shastras, and you're completely surrendered to him. He will be there at every step in your life. And devotees are very merciful too. The incident where right after the war, what's his name? Ashwadhama. Draupadi's 5 sons, they were like teenagers. They were sleeping in their tents, and Ashwadhama comes first. He kills Drishtadumna, and then he kills Draupadi's 5 sons who were sleeping, who were in a deep sleep. And then Krishna gets very angry. Arjun gets very angry, and Draupadi was like completely devastated. And after doing all the underwear, they bring Ashwadhama back to the tent before Draupadi, and Draupadi says just like, set him free. Right now, just I lost my 5 sons, and I can understand the pain is too much. Just think about his mother. Like, I am a Kshatrani, I am a Kshatriya woman, I am very strong internally, but a Brahmin woman, she's not as strong as I am. Just think he's the only son, he's the only relative, or I would say someone who she can connect to is there now. Dronacharya was also slain in the war. And then she says like, he's a Brahmin. On top of that, he is a son of your guru. Just set him free. But Krishna says, like, no, you have given kind of your words to Draupadi that you would slay him. And Krishna also wanted that. And then what Arjun does, Arjun kind of cuts his hair, and there was a kind of band or something that, that had his mystic power. As soon as that's removed, he became extremely weak, and then for 3,000 years or so he was cursed, just like he would be living on this planet. And when he meets a devotee and then he purifies himself, then only he can go back to Godhead. So that's how it is. And for a Brahmana, it's very shameful when somebody does something like that with you. When someone removes your hair like this and treats you in this way, this is worse than death. So Krishna is there to fulfill your vows in a way that you yourself cannot imagine. And part of that, yesterday I was trying to prepare for the class, but preparing for the class, more than that, I was kind of enjoying myself reading these verses. That's why I could not explain them properly, because I was just focusing on understanding them. Anyone has any questions? No? So can we go back to this verse again? There's something, if someone knows, please explain it to me. Verse number 7.23. Sorry, 9.8.12, 22. 9.18.22. So let's read the purport. Who would like to read it? Go ahead. Slowly.
Kacha, the son of learned illustrious priest, Brihaspati, had been a student of Shukracharya, from whom he had learned the art of reviving a man who has died untimely.
I can read that now. Untimely. This art called Mrit Sanjeevani was specially used during wartime. When there was a war, soldiers would certainly die untimely. But if a soldier's body was intact, he could be brought to life again by this art of Mrit Sanjeevani. This art was known to Shukracharya and many others, and Kacha, the son of Brihaspati, became Shukracharya's student to learn it. Divyani desired to have Kacha as her husband, but Kach, out of regard for Shukracharya, looked upon the Guru's daughter as a respectable superior, which is another thing for us to understand, and therefore refused to marry her. Devyani angrily cursed Kach by saying that although he had learned the art of Mrit Sanjeevani from her father, it would be useless. When cursed in this way, Kachcha retaliated by cursing Devyani never to have a husband who was a Brahman. Because Devyani liked Yayati, who was a Kshatriya, she requested him to accept her as his bona fide wife. I don't understand the word bona fide wife. If someone has understanding of this, please help me understand it. Although this would be a pratiloma vivah, a marriage between the daughter of a high family and the son of a lower family, she explained that this arrangement was made by providence. So Prabhupada is making us Brahmanas. How superior Brahmanas are. Yeah, go
What
ahead.
I understand in this context is that when someone from, different orders of blood, right, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So the Brahmanas would marry Brahmana, and if a Brahmana marries Kshatriya, so they would be marrying a lower kind of thing. So that's why I think she's asking him to accept her as a bona fide wife, because it's not the same caste. Still, she's asking because it's a arrangement of providence. So you accept me as a bona fide wife. I think that's my understanding. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhus. Forgive me and thank you for your association.